heroes don't die.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Greetings of this may concern. Christian Aguilar here, back with another series review. And in today's series review, I'm going to be reviewing the first season of Netflix's / Warner Brothers' The Sandman. Before I get into it, I want to say that I was thinking of reviewing the first 10 episodes, episodes 1 through 10, on its own, and then review the bonus episode, episode 11, with the 2 short stories, as a separate video. However, I felt it would just be better just to, encapsulate all of Sandman into one video. So I will be giving 2 separate ratings. One rating is me rating episodes 1 through 10 as season 1. And then the second rating will be just that bonus episode with the 2 short stories. So keep that in mind moving forward. The series stars Tom Sturridge, Boyd Holbrook, Patton Oswalt, and Vivian Akiampong. The series follows the entity Dream as he is accidentally summoned by this rich English count who was instead trying to summon the Angel of Death. However, with Dream being the one that was summoned, the count ends up imprisoning the entity for centuries, and in doing this, Dream ends up losing his 3 powerful relics: his gas mask, his ruby, and his bag of sand. From here, we essentially follow Dream in his escape and in his search to recover his lost relics in order to regain his power again. He encounters a wide cast of characters, from mortals to immortals. It's pretty insane how much this show has in terms of content and lore. There is a lot of things that are thrown at you in the first couple episodes, and you kind of have to sit back and chew it all in order to really get into it. But once you're in it, and once you're on the ride, it is a very fun, wild, fantastical ride. One I can say I thoroughly enjoyed by the end of it, and I am pretty intrigued to see if there is a season 2. Hopefully there is. Despite the popularity, even Neil Gaiman doesn't think that there might be a season 2. But regardless, I'm glad to say that this first season will make you excited for a season 2. Before I continue any further, this is an entirely spoiler-free review. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. It's all good. Spoiler-free here, man. So, like I said, going into it, there's a lot to chew. There's a whole bunch of different religions and mythologies that are all kind of interconnected and coexist in this world and amongst different realms. That's another thing too. There's different realms in this show as well. So a lot of the passing references, a lot of name drops might be a little off to you because we don't know those characters yet. So it kind of like it throws us in the middle of a very vibrant world. And to kind of like jump on this ride and kind of like get used to everything and put everything in order, for me, even though I like all this fantasy, superhero, sci-fi stuff, still took a little time. Like, okay, that's who's who. Let's get into it. And when it does, so like I had to rewatch episode 1 a couple of times and then, really get into it. And when you're on the ride, man, it's really fun. One thing I like about this series is how it paced itself. I love how there's a main plot, is Dream searching for his relics. But there's little side plots that happens with the human characters. And those plots are dedicated to single episodes. And there's going to be times where it kind of feels like some episodes take a detour. And that, for me, is when the show really stands out. In those detour episodes. In the episodes where we're like, okay, how is this connected to the overall story? And by its end, you're like, oh, okay, that's how it is. So I really, really love that because I know a handful of the comics are like that as well. Like they feel like short stories that you can read on your own without reading the rest of it. And you can still get the story they want to tell, or they are telling, right? And I love how the show reflects that so much. The performances are really great in this. Especially with the main cast of characters. I think the standout performance for me personally is Desire. Mason Alexander Park as Desire. He's not in a lot of the episodes. He's teased here and there. We only see a little bit of him. But the little we do, my God, does he embody the character. He makes the character feel so genuine. The character feels so lived in. And I really cannot wait to see more from that character in season 2. I like what they did with his character, how they kind of like introduced him a little bit. He feels like a snake, kind of just slithering right in there, when you least expect it, and I love that. But even Thomas Sturridge as Dream, as the series went on, I'm like, damn, this dude is really selling it. Like, he just feels like a very gray character, you know? He has to be understanding of both sides in order to keep a balance. Like he will kill and sacrifice someone in order to maintain order of everything. How an entity would be personified like that, just in that very gray, monotone state, he really sells it. He really, really does. And when there's moments where Dream has emotions, where there's times of anger, there's times of sadness, a little bit of joy. There was a moment where he got a chuckle out of something, and just seeing those little moments from Dream really stand out, because everything else is just like, I'm doing it because I need to. This needs to be returned to me, or this needs to be replenished, you know, and this needs to be reset a certain way. This needs to be done. You know, there's a job at stake, and I need to regain power. He has a goal, and he will stop at nothing to do it. And I just love how the actor is able to give that off. I actually remember seeing that actor in a movie called Pirate Radio. and it's so cool to see him now as the Sandman, which is pretty sick. And I heard that he, Andrew Garfield, and Robert Pattinson all were roommates in college together, and or they knew each other in college. So it's cool that Spider-Man, Batman, and the Sandman all hung out in college together. That's pretty sick. And I also really, really enjoyed seeing Jenna Coleman as Joanna Constantine. I know they did something a little different compared to the comics. I know they combined both the character of John Constantine, which we know from the expanded DC universe, Hellblazer, with his ancestor, who is named Joanna Constantine. I think she was from like the 18th century. On paper, that sounds like a comic book fan's nightmare when it comes to adaptations, but it works. It works really well in this story because this series isn't connected to a larger DC universe. Unfortunately, like, it would be really epic to have that cohesive universe where a show like this can exist within there. But it's still a really well written story. I mean, it's by Neil Gaiman, so it stands on its own very, very well. And so to kind of reinterpret the character of John Constantine and make it something distinctive for this adaptation, it's done very, very well. And Jenna Coleman's a very talented actress, and she plays the role really, really masterfully. Like, she's my second favorite portrayal of the character of John Constantine. I would say she's a great John Constantine, like, because I mean, the same characteristics are there. So I like how that same energy, that same characteristics are carried over, and Jenna Coleman just plays it very, very well. Sorry if I hit the mic there, but she plays it very masterfully, and I really like seeing her in this show so much that I was a little disappointed to find out that she's not in the entire season all that much. She plays a small role in it, which I assume John Constantine plays a similar small role in the comics. I don't know if he comes back later on, but I do hope if there's a season 2 that Jenna Coleman returns as Joanna Constantine. I will say I think my favorite episodes are probably 4, 5, and 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 4 episodes that are like 3 because that's Joanna Constantine's episode. Or Constantine. I know they pronounce it differently in the thing. People will say that's the proper pronunciation. Tomato, tomato. I grew up saying Constantine, so I'm going to be saying Constantine. Sorry, disclaimer for this video. So I liked episode 3 because that was her episode. And then episode 4 I liked because that was when Dream went to hell. And then I liked episode 5 because that was the one that felt like a tangent. That was the one on the diner episode, man. And then for 6 was the Angel of Death's episode. So that was really cool, man. I liked those 4 episodes. Those 4 to me are the highlight. And I like how they were all back to back. It just felt like the series was getting better from there. They're all my favorite. Before, I liked how there was an epic fight scene without throwing punches. If you've read the comic and if you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. That was so freaking cool, man. And I feel like that was one of the elements that a lot of comic book fans were like, this can never be adapted because that's something you can only do on page. But they did it well, man. They did it really well. And I think that was the show's best CGI right there. There's some visual effects that look a little rough, and then there's others that look really great. And I'm glad to say that that whole fight sequence, really well done. It looked great. and it was epic, man. And I also love how when you get to episode 10, honestly, for me, it left me excited for a season 2. So I hope Netflix does renew this for another season, because it was really, really fun, man. And by its end, I was really hooked. I want more. So for the first 10 episodes, I have to give that a solid rating of 3.5 out of 5 Skarsgårds. Again, there's a handful of effects that are pretty rough, and the show tosses you a lot of stuff and a lot of lore to really get into. So if you haven't read the comics, or if you're just a casual, movie or TV watcher, this might have a lot for you to chew. However, if you take your time, go through it, and follow and stick with it, you will be entertained. You will be pleasantly surprised. It takes you on a pretty crazy and wild ride. So when it comes to the bonus episode 11, with the 2 short stories in them, Dream of a Thousand Cats and Calliope. The first one, Dream of a Thousand Cats, I was really thrown off when I saw that this was an animated episode. I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. And I like how it follows cats in their kind of day-to-day lives a little bit, both alley cats and house cats. And I love how it's from their perspective, and I love how basically cats can dream too, and they explore that whole idea. And I really like this one because you don't have to have seen episodes 1 through 10 to really enjoy this one. You could be entertained and get the story that they're telling. That's the beauty of this first short. I like how it's paced out. I like how it ends. It feels like an episode of Love, Death, and Robots, that other anthology series that's animated on Netflix. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It feels like this could be an episode of that, and that's pretty cool. When it comes to the second short, I was so invested in the first one that when that ended and this second one started, I was like, do I really want to go into this one? Like, this one better be on par, if not better. That's what I was thinking. But I stuck with it, and I'm glad to say that I enjoyed this story. This one, you do have to have seen at least episodes 1 through 5 to really see how it's connected to the bigger plot. But I do like how it explores a pretty deep, traumatic theme, and it also feels self-contained in the first half, and then it explains how it's connected. That's pretty cool. And it also even sets up a character for season 2, which, if there is a season 2, she has to come back. She seems like she has a pretty big role in the main plot to not come back, So I like how this second story builds that up. So with that being said, without any spoilers, that last bonus episode, solid 4 out of 5 Skarsgårds. I like the bonus episode way better than season 1 as a whole. Now those 4 episodes right there, those are 4 out of 5 as well. Like all 4 of them together, if I had to rank that, that's the highlight of this season. Episode 1 through 10 is episode 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the highlights in my opinion. But in the end, that bonus episode was really great as a back-to-back watch. Even the first cat short. If you haven't seen anything else and you just want to watch that cat short, go ahead, because it's really fun on its own. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for reaching to the end of it. Those are my thoughts on Sandman. What did you think of it? If you've seen it, let me know down below. Or if you were even interested, are you interested in watching the Sandman? Were you ever interested? Or are you just like, it's a comic book adaptation, I'll just go and read the comic book? Let me know what your thoughts are down below. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe, support the channel. It's always very much appreciated. The rendered image is a show I co-host, my good friends Tyler and Shannon. Link to the channel will be down below in the description. So go over there, check that out. We go over all the latest movie news, updates, and trailers. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a fun time. I hope you're all safe and well out there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.